Right, it is a
Need to share.
it's a momentous occasion because joining me right now, it's the one and only RISCAS. We've got George and we've got Professor Eve Dodd in the building.
Hello.
You're
Shalom, Tim.
Shalom, as we always
Shalom.
start interviews with Eve. What a time. What a few months it's been, right, boys? Bit of a roller coaster.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
been mad, mate. It's been mad.
absolutely mad. Little did we know that Jude Bellingham was going to break into the England team before Jack Grealish even had a whiff of it.
What do you mean? Jack Grealish just already had a start.
I know he's had a start,
been in the
but
team.
Southgate, he's been there and he's like, do you know what? I've seen what I need to see. Bellingham's the way forwards. He's got the call up. All that needs to be said.
Well, mate, I heard on the grapevine, yeah, that when Jack Grealish was playing in like the U18s or the U21 England squad, when Southgate was managing, when he was the manager, that was when Jack Grealish was just a knobhead. If you have to be that.
What
Let me
you mean
rephrase.
now?
That's when Jack.
You mean like
No,
he was past tense.
Before he grew up.
Right.
And apparently Southgate and Grealish like fell out.
Oh,
and,
really?
Yeah, so that's why he's been all salty towards Grealish, which is. think of the team.
Out, man.
Think of the quality.
It explains so much. But it's honestly, we're chatting to you guys not about the correct decisions that Gareth Southgate has made, but because RISCAS have been hard at work. We've seen snippets in the studio. We know that when you guys are cooking, it's something to get very excited about. Cool to Chill With has come out months ago now, and it's sort of shooting up on Spotify. Getting to 100k, I reckon by December. But now you're back with a brand new single. It's your first ever single released on a label, Lab Records. Talk me through Next Love. How's RISCAS been for the past few months in lockdown?
Well, mate, it's been a roller coaster. To be fair, it's been a bit mad, really.
Yeah.
Obviously now it's just the two of us.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's all like the dynamic and just the atmosphere's all changed, but it's changed. It's just changed for the better, if anything. Like we're fully on it, and we're just all our focus is now on it. Because we were just I think everyone in lockdown was feeling a bit down and a bit lost and a bit confused, and it was just like, it was just one of them things. But we've got the single coming out. We were lucky enough to get into the studio during this time and record some music and that. So yeah, just have to put it out, hope for the best.
I felt it too, because I think that this period, like being a creative, like I literally didn't work in 6 months, and being a creative, well, for me as a freelancer, there was just no support. I don't imagine there are proper packages out there for bands, because it's not like bands are signed up to a company with a contract. So that transition for you guys becoming a two-piece, like, it feels like, you're both very focused now, as you say, but was it like quite a difficult period to get through and then get this to this stage now?
Yeah, I think obviously having Luke and the Sucker management behind us, and as well as kind of the support of the label, made us kind of sort of realize that what comes next is probably the most important stuff we put out. And obviously the hardest part about lockdown and writing, I think, is just the lack of inspiration, because normally we always write after a tour or like on a tour or whatever, and the fact that we're stuck inside and just looking at the same kind of four walls is very hard to become creative. But yeah, like George said, going into the studio helped us, because it was like in that time where we could go out and stuff, and that kind of gave us the buzz and the kind of, this is what it feels like again, because obviously we've kind of forgotten that in a way. But yeah, like I said, having just
there's bands out there who get into the studio as easy as us, and or they just now they have to like try and record from home, and they might not be working out or something like that. So it's just I think we're like the luckier group than like some other bands. So it's just like we have out of blessing and just and just be grateful that we can get into the studio and work for a bit.
Definitely. I think that the thing for me that's so special about RISCAS as a project is you guys seem to really have like a load of like adversity thrown your way all the time, and there's been so much going on behind the scenes that you guys have had against you, but then despite all that, you've been sitting on one of the biggest like grassroots satellite platforms of any indie band, with that Spotify strength of, you know, over 100,000 listeners, tens of thousands of listeners, and you've managed to like create great music throughout that. And I guess now you're hopefully going to take that to an even higher level with Next Love.
Yeah, man. I think it's just like you said, it's just now with like Lab Records, it's like we've always been like hungry for like to be signed, and we, like, as you know, Tim, like when you've come on tour with us or come to shows, we were always about like, oh, we just need to keep working, try and get a record deal or something like that, because like there's only so much we can do on our own, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
especially with the label behind us and our management, Sucker Management, it's just gonna help. It's like a next level, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's like a next level of RISCAS,
next level,
which is like, yeah. And so yeah, man, it's just like, I think especially with this label behind us, it just makes it so much more positive, and just make so much something just to look forward to, a new chapter, a new challenge. So yeah.
And
I think as well. Sorry, Tim.
Oh no, I was just.
You off, but I was just.
You go on.
I was just to add to what G was saying. I think we've had obviously a lot of stuff going on, you know, things happen with us in the last 4 years, as any band does, you know, like setbacks and push forwards and stuff as well. But I think having this year has been a very reflective year. For myself and George, for Tom as well, who obviously wanted to focus on the things that he was more passionate about, which we fully support him in. And think that really, that time to reflect has given us the realization that now is coming out of lockdown, hopefully some point end of the year or next year, to drive on and go as far as you can, really. Yeah.
And in terms of Lab Records, sorry, man. In terms
Sorry, carry on, mate.
Okay, right, okay. We're serious. In terms of Lab Records, I think for a lot of bands, that's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Like when they get signed, they think, oh, you know, that's a transformative experience. So for you guys now, in a practical sense, what is different since you've signed to Lab? Like, are they regularly in touch with you? Are they helping out with studio and...
Well, mate, it was so weird because we signed with Lab, but then it's like, oh yeah, that's great, we're signed to a label, but then but we literally can't do anything because of lockdown. So it was like we were so excited to be signed, but all the excitement through like, oh, we're signed, we're going to go on tour, we're going to play all these new shows, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It was literally like, okay, that we're signed, but we can't do anything. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was weird. It was a weird thing. But then, like I said earlier, and then we were just lucky enough to get into the studio and just record some nice new music, ready for because that's what I wanted.
I think obviously most bands' dream or kind of idea of being signed is going into a office in London and putting pen to paper and then popping a bottle of champagne. And for us, obviously, it was very different because we were all locked down. I think when we could, I think we went out and we went camping in the field, which we got kicked out of the next morning by an angry farmer. But it was kind of like that. So sort of like having to adapt to that as well. Yeah, we popped a bottle, but it was kind of not the
mate, the sun was shining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The sun was with your friends. You can't really ask. I'll take that any day than going down to London.
Definitely. I do hope you guys one day maybe get the big glitzy experience. I don't know, if you win a Brit Award or something, can go up and have that acceptance speech, that corporate moment. But whenever I look at what you actually do, I think all of you live in a more kind of, you live by a lot of kind of green space. Like, you're not living in the countryside, but I always see you camping or fishing, Eve, and I think, gee, you've got like a lot of greenery around you, so you probably prefer like a bit of peace.
Mate, I live in like the middle of nowhere, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Live in like countryside. Just smells
Lives
like
in a
crap.
shed.
In a shed.
Yeah, I live in a shed. All I've got with me is my Squire guitar and a bongo drum.
It's the only way to be.
And I make it sing.
Yeah, but we've seen a big change in RISCAS, a big shift in kind of the sort of music you make. Because I feel like if you have phases of RISCAS in the way you might have phases of like Marvel movies or something, phase one is your high tempo, jangly indie pop. You got tracks like Panic Like Tom, which saw you get Radio 1 playlist on your first ever song, which is crazy. Then you had like Talk Your Mind, Right Kind of Day, and the whole Calypso EP. But then you kind of drew a line under that and released Cool to Chill With, which is much more mellow. And from what I've heard, I think that's what Next Love is going to be like. So what's this new direction been like for you now? Do you feel like you're really fully in control of your own sound for the first time?
Well, it's just something new. You know what I mean? I think we discussed it before we recorded Cool to Chill With. That we're just like, let's just try something new. There's only so many songs, like indie pop songs, you can make really. Yeah. And I feel like because we made so many, we made the whole EP and then the 3 singles, we were a bit like, we don't want to just make another one of them. So it was more of like a challenge for us as a band to be like, let's try something new. We all like that kind of music anyway. And so yeah, it was just a challenge. And I think what we produced was just a really nice sound. So with Next Love, it's kind of the same vibe. It's a little bit different, a little bit more upbeat.
Yeah.
It still has that nice flavour of RISCAS and indie pop, and it's literally just like all the music we like, just wrapped into one thing. You know what I mean?
Because that is the big thing with you guys. Go on, Eve.
I was just gonna say, because we like all sorts of music, I think that helps in terms of when we write, because we're not kind of like strict on ourselves and saying, right, we're only going to do this, we're going to make this sound. I think because we're like, why don't we try this, or why don't we put this synth in, or why don't we put this flute and then whack a load of delay on it and see how it sounds, and then put some groovy harmonies over the top. That's what we like to do. We like to experiment, and we like to play around with sounds and use kind of our musical knowledge, if you like, to our aid.
Yeah. Because, I mean, most of the music you guys listen to, I wouldn't say it's similar to how RISCAS first sounded. Like, I think, George, you're more into, like, Bob Marley and stuff like that than India and Eve, you like you too.
I don't just sit in my room, but just sweating reggae 24/7.
Well, I know, I just thought... more if you had the music you listen to.
I like reggae, but I like everything. Like, I like indie, I like rock, I like pop.
You like Coldplay? Opera. Love Coldplay.
Mate, me and Eve were talking, and Coldplay's like probably one of the biggest inspirations.
I love Coldplay. I actually do. Like, I rush of blood to the head. Like all their start. That was my childhood, man.
Mate, all their songs though, they're not the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Varied.
You can, the progression of their sound from like when they first started to like now. Like they started off a band, and then now they're doing bloody songs with Beyonce. And like, mad, you know what I mean? It's all mad, and they've got a song that's like a gospel song. Yeah. They've got another song that's like a trap song, or like a proper pop song, or they got a rock song or an indie song. That's what I mean. They love to experiment, so I think that's where our inspiration is Coldplay at the minute, just through like their multiple sounds and multiple genres that they.
On those collabs as well, I want to maybe manifest it. I want to put it out there. Is there an artist you guys would love to collab with? I think Mahalia is someone you've been a fan of for quite a while. I'd love to hear her with you on the track, G.
Oh, mate, that would be sick. That would be nuts. But anyone, like, we want to work with anyone. Anyone. That's what I mean. Experimenting with anyone and you know what I mean. Yeah. Any musician, any singer, any rapper, anyone, because it's just fun. You know what I mean? It's something that we've never experienced before. Is working with other people. Like, we're Cool to Chill With. That was the first time we like worked with like musicians, like the brass players and everything like that.
From UB40 as well.
It was so fun and it was so amazing. Yeah, and it just made us. It made us like a better musician. Just to work with people who are just amazing and who are good at what they do. It's like it just gives you like a next level inspiration. So yeah, I would love to work with Mahalia. I'd love to work with anyone. KSI.
KSI.
Nah.
Bump in on a track.
No.
That'd be
KSI the track.
I'd love to hear that, man. That would be wild. That'd be wild. Get it right at the charts. It's always so sick catching up with you guys. Next Love. Is there a big message behind this song? A big idea you had going into the studio, or is it more something just that you want people to enjoy the sound of?
Yeah, they both. Go on, Eve.
I was just gonna say, when George came up with the idea, like, and he played it to me the same day we were in the studio. We stayed in a hotel when we were recording, and he played it me, and it was just one of those songs, and I just heard it, and I was just like, okay, just play it again, and yeah, just play it again, and again, and again, and I think we were probably listening to it for about 2 hours, and we had it on Logic or whatever, and we were just adding bits to it and whatnot, and we woke up the next morning and we went down to the studio and we're like, right, we've got this. We just want to. It's not like there's a massive message behind it. I think it's just we wanted to, like, you know, put some soul and we wanted to put, like, you know, our sound into a track that's kind of just going to be very happy in a way, and also for people to kind of just be able to listen to now and just kind of for 2.5 minutes just to not think about what's going on in the world and just to relax. I think that's the most important thing at the minute, really.
A lot of people will relate to like the song, I think, like the lyrics and everything like that. So yeah, it's just one of them, like a nice, soulful, uplifting little tune. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Simples.
Definitely. Well, boys, thank you so much. Next Love, right now, debut on BBC, introducing in the West Midlands.
Yeah.
Hey.
I just feel alone. I just want you here. Come and join me close. Please don't disappear. Nah. I just feel alone. I just want you here. Come and join me close. Please don't disappear. Nah. I just feel alone.